Welcome back. Welcome to my podcast called Tell the World. And today the subject will be why love hurts. Why do love hurts? A lot of reasons why love hurts. But I think most of the time love hurts because we don't know how to accept and we don't know how to let go. And we don't know how to just try to move on. A lot of people don't want to accept. And when they don't accept, they take whatever you give them. Love used to be soft and sharing. But now love is whatever you give me, I'll take it. What I mean about soft and sharing is that a person softens your heart, your spirit, your soul, and sharing that affection with you. Having you feeling at your best instead of making you feel like you're worse. And that's what people do sometimes to each other. They make each other feel like they're worse. And you should never do that to another human being. A lot of people can't move on. They take love serious. And it's devastating when they get hurt. It's devastating how they're treated. And some love is where people are trapped and they don't know how to get out because they don't know how to move on and they're scared to try to make it on their own. They may not know what to do to see how to try to do things to be more productive with themselves, to better themselves on their own because they're used to that person doing it and doing everything for them. So when they get hurt and that breakup happens, they are hurt, they are shocked, they are lost. And that's dangerous love. Because some people take love very serious and very hard. And so you have to be careful with how much of your loving you give and how much loving you're receiving. Yeah, it takes a long time because sometimes you don't know that person. In the beginning it is flowers. It is wine. It is outside dating and doing this together, going out. But when the commitment happens and when the babies come involved, love does change. It don't have to. You should always keep it the same. It should bring you guys together stronger. But sometimes the other party may not want it that way. You know, sometimes people cheat love, meaning that they want to get out there and have their fun, but they don't want you to get out there and do what they're doing. So they cheat love and get out there and indulge into other activities out there in life. The lust, the dangers, things that's called love. Because love is in different forms and different categories and different subjects. But love is love. But some people take it so hard where they can't move on with themselves and they let themselves go to a point where they're lost and you can't tell them anything. They're not going to listen because they're caught up in that one love. Even if it was mistreating them, they still love that person. It's very hard. Have I been in love? Of course. Not many times. But one time, maybe one or two. The one is different. The second one, you learn how to deal with that love a different kind of way. The first time is hard. The second time, for me, it's an experience. You already know how to handle it different this time. There's a difference. That's that lesson within love. You learn what love is. You know, you're dating around, but you're learning at the same time. But if you're out there messy and just living it wild, you're not learning nothing. You're rolling bad dice, and you're putting a lot of people at risk, including yourself. And that's not love. That's dangerous love. It ain't physical abuse anymore. It's the worst of them all. Verbal. Verbal abuse is the worst because it attacks the mental. And when you become verbal all the time to that same person, that channels in their thoughts about themselves. And that's when they're caught in the loop of themselves. They have no courage. The spirit is low. They don't know what to do no more. And so they're trapped. A bad spell called love. Called love. So we have to get back ourselves. You have to remove yourself from the situation, even if you got to go far. A lot of people move away because they know if they stay anywhere close that they're going to be the same way. And when you channel yourself away from it, slowly you start to find yourself back. You start to hear your old you, that person you was before. And then that's the person you work on. You can't work on the person that had the low self-esteem, being scared, being afraid. That person is shattered. And that's why you remove yourself far, so you can hear that one voice, and that's yourself. All the drama, all the trauma situations that you've been through, you can't fix that person, those people inside you. They're broken, they're shattered. You have to go back to the source. The source is you. Work on yourself. Get far away from the problem, and you have to work on yourself. When you're working on yourself, don't mean that because you stay away, that's helping you. No, you work on yourself by finding out things about you, recreating you. You're going outside of yourself. You're getting activities outside of yourself. Start doing things. Hell, do some charity work. That lifts the spirit up when you go and start doing nice things for others. Because sometimes we can forget about others, that we become selfish within our own problems, that we don't want to deal with nobody else. We don't want to deal with just doing something out of bounds or out of ourselves. And that's where the communication comes in with you. You have to go get away from the situation. You have to find other activities within your life and start doing them. And slowly, you're recreating not a new person, but you're finding you. Then all that stuff that you know you went through, slowly the consciousness will start to speak to you. And your mind will start to think like, wow, I put myself all through that and didn't have no idea. You'll have no idea when you're being treated all kind of ways by a person that you don't even know how to think for yourself no more. So when the outside source come in and try to help you, they can't help you because they're not talking to the same person. They're talking to someone totally different. Totally different. And that person that's totally different may not want to hear you because they're angry, they're upset, they're lost. So that's why you get far. That's why you stay away from the situation, so you can start getting yourself back to who you was. You. That self-preservation that's saved inside you. The last part of you that you need to try to save. You. It's a blessing to get outside help, but you got to be willing to want that help. I didn't say it was easy. It's hard. It's not easy. because you're starting your life back over. You're reconditioning yourself back over in so many ways. You're cleaning out all those old memories. You're getting rid of that voice in your head that made you feel so shelled in of yourselves. And that does take time. But it starts when you stay away from the problem and you don't go back. When you find yourself going back that many times, and then when you think it's going good again, it goes right back bad again, that's when you know it's toxic to you. Very toxic. And it can mess you up even more. It can mess you up even more. So many people have committed suicide because of love. And do you think that party is going to commit suicide against you? Do you think anybody would kill themselves over you? No. So you got to find it in yourself to pick yourself back up. And you keep moving. You leave that situation alone, and then you're on a track of getting yourself back. You're on a track in a new journey of finding yourself. And then you'll understand the balance within love. You don't give all your love away. You give some, but not all. Because your heart is involved. Your mental is involved. The spiritual of yourself is involved. So don't give everything about you away, that your spirit becomes lost. You can see it in a person's eyes when they're lost. It's amazing how you can see someone being lost within their spirit. Lost. But it can't be hidden. The eye shows everything. And you can't hide that. There's all kinds of symptoms of what love does to a person when it really affects them. And we all love different. Some love very hard. Some love lightly. But we can't let bad love destroy our lives and make us think that this is it. There's nothing more. You have to get over that. And getting over that doesn't mean you get over it. You have to find a way. You have to balance yourself up, not going back, and working on yourself. That's the balance. But if you wave in just a little bit, you're going right back into that situation again. If you think about that situation again just a little bit, you're going back into that situation again. It's like a tunnel. You know what you're going to feel when you go in there. You already know the feeling. So everything in our lives is a practice. It is a practice. So we practice love. We hear the treatment of love. We have to practice on knowing what love is and what love is not. It's just an experience. Some are good, some are bad. But don't let the bad destroy your life and you give up on love like love doesn't exist anymore. You never put no one above yourself. You have to bring that back down to you, because you are just as more as the next person. You could be better, especially if the other person is being worse to you. Don't analyze it. Don't blame yourself. You're finding ways to hold on. That's all that is. And you have to give that up and know what's important to you. That's important to you. There's a lot of people you could reach out to. Lots of people. And it's hard when we don't have families in our lives that sometimes we are out here just alone. We may not even have siblings, and we're just out here by ourselves. It's a worse condition. But you are just as special. You deserve more. You deserve better. You don't deserve worse. Some situations, things don't get better. They get worse. You know it's toxic when you keep going back, because every time you keep going back, it gets worse and worse and worse. It's just like everything that you tried to do, it didn't work. It was okay for a minute, and then all of a sudden it went right back the way it was. Then you're back over again in that cycle, getting sick, just don't want to eat, don't feel good, you just feel bad. You're starving your spirit of happiness. You're starving your spirit. And that's when you can see it in that person's eyes, that they've given up, and love has hurt them. Their heart has broken them. A lot of us don't come out of it. A lot of us eventually we give up, and it just become a tragic. But every tragic is a lesson for all of us to learn, because we will learn the lesson of love. When you're young, you can be reckless with it. That's a process of learning, but there's consequences to all that, and something eventually will slow you down, and you start to think more. But it's all based on maturity and growing up. All of that is growing up to get mature about it, of how you're thinking. No one really knows, but we are templates of a lesson, that we share it and we give it to you, so we can let you understand that you need to do it this way, because it's heading that way now, and you don't want it to head that way. That's the difference between an elder explaining it versus a young person going through it. An elder might have been through it, might have seen somebody else go through it, so they're just explaining it. They're like a crystal ball, and they know where it's heading. They know where it's going to go. But when you don't have reasoning within your soul, and you're resisting, and you're getting angry, you're getting upset, and you don't think someone understands, you're heading back in that same direction. And you go right back all over again, and you feel the whole emotional situation, the stress of it all back over again. It just keeps hurting you the same way. It keeps hurting the same way, until eventually your spirit is broken. The spirit can get broken. So we have to balance ourselves. We have to find ourselves. Whatever the problem is, if it's not getting better, you need to remove yourself from the equation, because you don't want to be part of the problem. You have to subtract yourself from it. Start back over and start adding what's needed in your life and subtracting what's not needed in your life. We can do all we can to help each other, and sometimes we fail where it doesn't help. You have to choose friendship over how that person's feelings is, and sometimes you have to be careful on how you talk to a person, because we don't want them upset. You don't want to call them a fool. You don't want to call them names, call them stupid, or how could you do that? That doesn't help. You just have to, it's a slow process, but every lesson is learned within self. You take the challenge, then you have to learn the lesson. If you take the challenge, you have to learn the lesson. And that's how it works. We're a lesson. We need to learn. We need to grow. But don't count yourself out and just settle for doom. This is it. Because it's never it. There's always hope. As long as you got breathing going through your lungs, there's hope. You wake up every morning, there's hope. Don't allow yourself there. Get yourself up. You can find it. You can find it. You have to find it within yourself to want it. Don't give up. Because I haven't gave up. That concludes this podcast. Tell the world.